Hi everyone, are you ready to explore your multilayered stainless buildings in a game-like settings while listening to its architecture story? This video will guide you on how to do that. In this module of Palimpsest Cities course, we will conduct 2 field trips on 2 consecutive weeks in our multilayered city. In order to make the field trip more attractive, memorable, and entertaining, we will use gamification and storytelling techniques. We wish to overcome active narrator and passive listener patterns in this kind of guided tours. By inserting games and stories into these trips, we aim to arouse curiosity and turn this trip into a model of self-exploration and learning. Now, let's review our approach step by step. First, in each city, the routes of the field trip would vary. Therefore, make the first trip by yourself or with your colleagues before you take your participant to the field. Decide on the sites to visit, think about the time you would spend on each structure and walking time between them. Second, think about the games and quizzes that you could insert while exploring each structure or to the whole of the field trip. These games are various and only limited with your imagination. You may even ask intriguing questions that would make your students conduct a self-research or exploration, or you could play a treasure hunt game that would make them solve puzzles as they move around. Third, before coming to the field trip, you may think about a story or stories that would make the information that you give to your students more memorable. For instance, you may combine the architecture histories of all structures on your path within a single story, or tell several stories by combining the events and people of all times with those buildings. This would require both pre-study and imagination, but it would be much more attractive than a didactic narration. Fourth, inform your participants before the field trip to get dressed according to the weather conditions, to choose comfortable shoes for walking, and to take pencils, notebook, razor, and other necessary equipment. Fifth, at the beginning of the field trip, share the details of the trip with your participants and start telling your story related with the buildings and history of the city from the very first moment. Also ask the group some intriguing questions instead of directly giving information. Step 6. During the field trip, you may ask your participants to take pictures of certain details of the structures on their route. For instance, they can take photos of the building's materials, for example, brick, or building elements like doors, and then those photos can be matched according to the common materials and elements on the platform, like padlets. 7th. It's also a good idea to ask them make drawings of the buildings by combining these with games and questions. For instance, they could imagine and draw the interior by investigating the form of the structure from outside. Imagine the Rest is another drawing game. If there is a destroyed cultural heritage on your route, you can ask them to draw what it looked like in the past. 8th. Alternatively, you may ask your group to take pictures during the trip, where 3 or more buildings from different periods appear on the same frame, and then make a contest to choose the best photo. And the last step, you may benefit from our repository of games, or search for the other games, or just imagine and create your own games. These are only some of the gamification ideas that can be used on a field trip. You may transform and adapt these into your own route and destination. But don't forget that gamification of a field trip requires prior planning on the part of the playmaker. We hope this guide was helpful and you will enjoy exploring your Palimpsest City.